in the same kind of role that he has over there, but team him up with Isaiah Stewart and Duren to create that defensive identity for the future, and let kind of Draymond be that, that bridge.
We like Sadiq, don't get me wrong, but is Sadiq that player of the future? I'm going to say it right now. Ivy's going to be able to get around everybody that guards him this year.
Who's the person that's going to attract all that attention? It's got to be Ivy, doesn't it? So game 1 in the books. Got a dub.
Love it.
And it did look pretty.
I thought it was kind of pretty. It's just pretty for how young our team is.
Well, right. I guess by design, you'd love us to come out and just play perfect beginning to end, have the lead, and end up winning by 25.
Right, perfect world.
Right.
If we're fans of the Bucks or
had a bad
similar.
first quarter, made up for it in the second quarter.
Yeah. A shout out to Corey Joseph for getting that ignited.
You're not going to say shout out to Corey Joseph very often, but okay, we'll let him have his moment.
I'll give him his credit where it's due.
Yep. Not a big surprise how they played though. It's basically the one takeaway for me that was a little bit surprising was how many assists we had in the game. It seemed
nice.
Yeah, it was good.
It was nice to see.
31?
31 assists. Yep.
So
to 13 turnovers.
Yep, 13 is not a bad number.
Yes, that's what I like.
Let's keep it right there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we shot better. We shot 42.5% from the floor, about 37% from three. And we didn't jack up a whole shitload of three-point shots, too. I think we took 38. Yeah, we're 14 for 38.
Yeah, when you have one of your wings hitting his threes like Bojan was, I think it kind of makes everybody else, they're able to relax a little bit.
Well, Bojan was hitting those shots at crucial times, too.
Right.
Magic started to search. Cade as well. Cade didn't have a good shooting night. He had an okay shooting night.
Still ended up with 18 points.
Yeah, okay shooting night, but Cade hit some shots when they needed to be hit. And Cade pretty much deferred and let the team pretty much do their thing. He ended up taking 16 shots, led the team along with Bojan, I think.
Right.
But the thing is, he hit the shots at the right time. He forced some things. Don't get me wrong. He's still a young player. We're all young. Our whole team forced shit.
Right.
Bojan was played within his game and within the game very well. It
was fun to watch. Play in Orlando. There's not a lot of rivalry there. It's not a divisional game.
Well, no, and
they're sort of on the rise like we are. So we're both
right.
Watching them, watching us was also interesting to watch them because we really like Paolo.
We are, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. We both wanted Paolo if we had the opportunity to get him.
I for one wasn't shocked at all when he went number 1 overall.
Well, neither was I. Jabari Smith, it wasn't a bad pick either. He couldn't have went wrong either way, but.
Right.
The Magic and the Pistons are very similar teams. I think they're the two youngest teams in the league, 1, 2. I think the Magic are the youngest, and the Pistons are the second youngest. They're both young. They both play shitty defense. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to actually see the players that were supposed to get showcased. That being Jaden Ivey, Bojan. Kay did his thing, passing the ball, being the floor general, and being the leader of that team. Watching the first game, there's no doubt in my mind, Cade is still the leader of this damn team, and it's not changing.
Well, in general, though, there was a lot of team basketball. It wasn't just Cade passing the ball and Cade running the team. Everybody was passing.
Kill came off the bench, had 5 assists. He had 5 rebounds, 3 blocks, or 3 steals and a block. A guy played awesome outside of scoring. He filled up the stat sheet everywhere else.
Right. Once again, if you're going to look for him
on stat sheets.
Once again, if you're going to look for him to score points every single night, then that's where you're going to always have a reason to say then trade Hayes. All those people that say trade Hayes.
You can see it with Hayes too. He was trying to push it. You know what I mean? He was trying to force shit. You know what I mean?
Well, like we said prior to. If he comes out and kind of lays a goose egg or lays a stinker offensively, which seemingly he did outside of, hit 5 assists, I'm still not concerned. I set myself up for the idea of, I understand why people who might be backed off for a minute might be back on the trade Hayes train, because you don't see what we see anyway. We see team basketball, we see grit, and, he can play defense, and he can orchestrate, and he can shut down other people. He can guard 1 through 3 pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about Hayes watching that game at all. So I don't want to make that a thing, even though every week it seems like we're gonna revisit what's the current status of Killian Hayes.
Oh, it's going to be a reoccurring thing every single time we talk on these things.
It's some background music. What's the current status of Killian Hayes?
Right.
And then at some point, it'll be like, oh my God, remember when we used to do that? Killian
Right.
Hayes shit, and now he's awesome, or
Right now, he's a
out of the
pivotal
league.
piece, or he's out of the league. One of the two.
It'll be one of those two.
Or he's just a journeyman, But I mean, it's all cool. I mean, I think we had a pretty good game all around.
We cleaned up our turnovers. It's with 13. That's
I
the
mean,
number you want.
I mean, we still gave up 56 points in the paint, which that's what takes me to Duran. Duran had a good game for the 22 minutes he was out there. He still was out of position in defense quite a bit, even though he had the 3 blocks. He could have had more if he was actually in position. I mean, it was only a few times. It wasn't real bad or nothing like that. He shuffled his feet well, had a couple good dunks, one being a posterizing dunk. Guy's going to be really good, but we need to shore up that defensive presence in the paint. That's the thing. I would have liked to see Nerlens play yesterday. I know he was on the injury list, but he was cleared to play, I do believe. Reading everything up to the game.
With Bagley out, you thought that might be the best chance that he has to actually come in and get some minutes. So,
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, I was like, man, with Duran only getting 22 minutes.
But Duran had the most minutes off the bench. So
Really? Over
Yeah.
Killian?
Yep. Yeah, I think Killian only had like 18 minutes or something like that. I don't think I have it written down or anything, but I think it was somewhere around there.
But, I mean, either way, with Duran only getting 22 minutes, you add Bagley to that rotation. I mean, like, how many minutes is Duran expected to get?
Duran needs to start, and Stu needs to play the 4. Stu's not afraid to take the shots.
After, you're gonna bring Boyan off the bench after what he just did?
No, you bring Bay off the bench, like I said in our very first episode. I mean, if we look at that last night,
He'll probably shoot better.
right? And if you look at it last night, Bay wasn't really playing within himself or within the game. Really, he was kind of just out there. You know what I mean? Which he made a lot of hustle plays. He did a lot of things that, like we said, the stat sheet doesn't show. He was all over the place. He played decent defense. He was getting his hands on the ball, getting in the mix on rebounds, getting the ball, tapping the ball out, stuff like that. So I'm not trying to take away too much from him, but
You bring him up, like, you bring him in, like, with, 4 minutes to go, maybe in the first quarter.
just whenever it dictates. I mean, if Bojan comes out and he's cold, you just
No,
make
I mean,
that
for
sub.
Stu, you bring him in at the 4.
Oh,
And
Stu,
let-
yeah, at the
and
4.
then play both the wings after that. So you'll be able to spread it out more.
Yeah.
You take Stu off the floor, and, you bring in Sadiq to 4.
Or when MB's back, you bring in an MB.
And then you can shift out
But
Boyan.
you can play MB at the center too. So
Then you can shift out Boyan when he takes a break, and then move over Sadiq over to the 3. And then keep him in there for like an extent. He could be your
yeah.
6th man.
We have so much wiggle room in our adjustments, or on our adjustments. Excuse me, on our lineups. Like it's nice, man. We just have to have all this stuff come to fruition. These players are young, so it's not going to happen this year. We're going to see flashes of it, though. We saw flashes of it last night. Last night we had moments of awesome defense. Rotations were perfect. Everything was lining up and just giving people problems. Paulo kind of had his way, but that's just Paulo's going to be that type of player.
That's
and like
20,
I said,
25, 5 and 5.
or
27.
27, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
other than that, though, we pretty much had everybody else up on wraps. Up in wraps, pretty much. Like our team, we were balanced.
Yeah. Duran had 3 blocks. I mean, I don't want to say that he was the ultimate defensive presence, but
Well, no, like I said, he was out of
3
position
blocks
quite a few times.
If you do that every game, then yes, you will be a defensive presence. If you average 3 blocks a game in this NBA, then you are a bad motherfucker. And he got it in
Right.
22 minutes. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks. I don't care whatever.
10 rebounds, I do believe.
I thought it was 11, but either way, it's 0 or what is it? 1 turnover.
Yeah.
I think it was 1 turnover.
Yeah,
One
Duran's
turnover.
Duran's game is predicated on the putbacks. I think he had like 5 offensive rebounds and 5 defensive boards.
And
So-
1 turnover for Killian Hayes.
Yeah,
A thing for him that he had
Yep.
to clean up.
and he had 3 steals and a block. He was doing everything.
And 3 turnovers for Cade to 10 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looked like an efficient game outside of maybe some shooting woes in the first quarter, like shaking the rust off,
Yeah,
or not. I shouldn't say shaking the rust off. Shaking the nerves off.
yeah. They just like something clicked. I mean, it really is when Kojo came in and he hit a couple buckets. They started actually freaking playing defense and rotating just fine and actually started hitting their shots. Well, Bojan mainly after that first period, they got down like 15 points or something like that, and then they just started just going off. But like I said, Cade, I want to get back to Cade because even though he wasn't like the clear cut like champion of this team last night, he still demanded everybody's attention on the floor. Every time he does anything within the perimeter, there's people collapsing on him. Like, the league knows. Like, Cade's the guy. And Cade played really well within that. Obviously, he had the 10 assists. He passed out. He had the big assist to the assist and trust to pass it to Stu in the corner to hit that game-winning three-pointer or game-sealing three-pointer.
After he hadn't hit one all game.
Right. Because he knows. He knows Stu has been working on it, and Stu is a good shooter.
Yeah.
He knows that because he would not have passed that to him if he knew that he wasn't. Cade's smart enough, and within the moment, he can do that stuff. But you can definitely tell he is the leader of this team, and they're going to go as he goes, however he wants to do it. Yeah. And like I said, there was points in the game where the Magic were surging, and Cade hit a big shot, like off an inbounds pass. He had to turn around jumper real quick, put us up, I think, 2 points, or maybe it was 3 points, just to push him off a little bit, and just little things like that.
He needs to finish a little better, I think, in the paint.
Well, no, he drew contact. I think he shot 5 or 6 free throws.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that get drawn fouls, but I mean actually finishing like it seems like sometimes he gets there and like he gets into the paint and like gets tied up or whatever he was developing is lost on him now, and that's where some of the turnovers come from. Is there's like a mentality that goes into. Sometimes he's just like maybe just walking into a situation and he's going to improvise the situation. And then, a defense actually realizes what's happening and collapses on him and things kind of go haywire for him.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He was hesitant down there.
Yeah, like he gets there and he gets blocked and then he loses the ball, and I don't want to make a big stink about it because, I mean, he's still in his second year and
we're critiquing small things.
Right. But I mean, exactly. And that's kind of relieving.
Yeah. And I do agree with you totally. Like I did notice there was quite a few times he got down there in the paint and he was hesitant to go up with it. Like he was trying to make a unnecessary move or two. But granted, he passed out of it. I think he got blocked a couple times. He looked good. He looks like the leader of this team.
And conversely, I think we didn't really we didn't force a ton of fouls like we do. Somebody fouled out, didn't they?
For them?
Was it for them or for us?
No, for them. Who the hell was it that fouled? I think it was Wendell Carter Jr. that fouled out.
But I mean, either way, we didn't force a ton of fouls.
No, 21. We committed 21 fouls. So we did a really good job on that. And our turnovers. We hit our shots at a decent clip.
Mm-hmm.
We limited our turnovers by a lot. And we didn't commit a lot of fouls. Those are 3 main points of this game that were awesome. But back to the players that we were talking about, I want to touch on Stu as well. He got to the line a lot. He got to the line 8 times.
Damn.
7 for 8 from the line.
He went 7 for 8?
Yeah, big shout out to Stu for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's awesome. I love seeing that.
And he made the game ball at the end.
Yeah, yep.
Even though Bojan had a good game, man. Sometimes it's those
Bojan
guys.
gets the game ball. I give Bojan the game ball. Because he hit shots. He made the right decisions every time he got the ball in his hands.
All right, so you said
and he played solid defense.
So if you give out a game ball, then you give it to Bojan, and then I'll give out a game ball, and I'll give it to Isaiah. That way we can both feel like we gave the appropriate game ball to the appropriate people.
And then,
it's not a real ball.
I'll touch on Diallo a little bit. Diallo only played a few minutes. He didn't really show up on the stat sheet, but, man, he was in there. Both his rebounds were offensive boards. He was running hard. He playing hard. I take nothing away from the guy, even though he didn't really show up on the stat sheet too much. And then getting to our future superstar rookie, Ivy. He didn't disappoint in his debut. I was not disappointed at all, especially with his defense.
Right,
his defense came up pretty big in the game. Man. I was really surprised. That speed is real. That speed is.
Yeah, I mean,
speed is so real.
He can use it not only to drive fast in front of people, but also to use it to stay in front of other people when he's defending. So I mean,
I think he's learning that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all he had to do was get with a coach who knew what the fuck he was talking about, and using it for the right reasons.
Yeah, because we all know Curtis Painter's a joke there in Purdue, Mr. Choke Artist Extreme.
Well, I don't think he's ready for the top-notch guys.
Oh, well, no.
You know what I'm saying? If a top-notch guy comes in, you got to be able to know how to coach
Ivy's
him.
different.
Ivy's different,
and we see that because that speed is different. There's not very many guys that are going to be able to stay in front of him. There's I'm going to say it right now. Ivy's going to be able to get around everybody that guards him this year. Everybody. There's going to be nobody that shuts him down from getting around him. Whether he makes the play or not after he gets around the guy, that's a different story. But
he throws down though.
He tries at least.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's able to, take advantage of that. We shot 36%, or I should say 37% from the field as a team for three. So I mean
that's where we need to be.
I'm gonna say that's good, man. If we can do that every game, then we really give ourselves a chance to like not only just play but compete in every single game.
Right.
You shoot almost 40%. That's pretty good as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Cade, I like the fact that he basically didn't force anything outside of what the game was like. He is a take what the game gives him type of guy.
Yeah, and he let really Ivy play within his game. You know what I mean?
And
he allowed that to happen.
You know that's probably first on his list. Caden Ivey is going to be said 100,000 times over the next fucking 20 or 15 years.
Yeah, they're the backcourt of the future for this team. And there's control over both of them contract wise for the next 6 years. Both of them. Seven for Ivy and 6 more for Cade.
Knowing how we feel about Cade's ability to like basically let the team get going before he gets going. Like, he has to really appreciate that, like, Ivy is a scoring guy. Like, if he can get Ivy going every single game, then that opens up things for him, and that's how has to be looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, let Ivy do all the scoring. That opens up me to facilitate for the rest of the guys.
Mm-hmm. And Ivy can pass, too. He can dish out some dimes.
He can be the high-scoring guy on this team, the motor that,
absolutely,
that everybody has to stop. Like, I mean, everybody
I wouldn't
else,
even be mad if Bojan's up there as one of the leading scorers on the team. Number 2 or
might.
number 1.
It
doesn't even matter to me.
Like you said yesterday, he seems to make the right play when he has the ball in his hands.
Yes.
And he's a crafty guy. Like you can't realize.
He's a vet, solid vet.
Shoots, I think, like a career 38% or 39%.
Yeah, 39. I think he's hovering close to 40. I don't know.
I'm fine with it. And I like the way that he kind of mentored the guys in like certain moments, and just being a guy who's played the game for long enough that offers something else, like
you've seen a lot.
Corey Joseph is a veteran too, but like just seeing from
but Corey's a career extended bench guy, whereas Bojan's played actual minutes,
right,
big
for
minutes
for a winning team
for a long time.
So I was thinking about this. If we're gonna like build a team that you would consider that emulates the previous teams, like a very high defensive presence. That's what this team is known for, is a defensive presence. I think that as Detroit is that place, like even, the Lions try to proclaim their, the grit and attitude and, holding each other accountable. And this is kind of exactly what Draymond is. And Draymond's from Michigan. I would think that, what would you think about bringing him here in the same kind of role that he has over there, but team him up with Isaiah Stewart and Duran to create that defensive identity for the future, and let kind of Draymond be that, bridge.
We'd be giving up a piece for him unless we got him in the offseason.
Well, let's say we have to give up Bay. Like, would it be worth it? Because he would bring that culture here. He would demand the winning.
I'd rather get rid of Bojan than Bay.
I mean, I would too.
Yeah.
In this context, and since we're making this scenario,
yeah, then whatever, a first-round pick and whatever, I don't know, another player,
right?
Diallo or
he'll be a free agent. We won't have to give.
Well, you got to match that contract, so it'd be like
he might just be a free agent. We wouldn't have to match.
Oh, yeah, he'd be a free agent next year, I do believe.
So we could just sign him.
But I'd take a flyer on him for not. I don't want to pay him a bunch of money, even though we'd have a bunch of money to spend.
Let's say $22 million.
I'd do that. Yeah.
I don't think that it would be a bad idea. I think it would create an automatic identity here. And like I said before, once you create an identity, I think that's when you can start winning. And you can kind of hang your hat on that identity.
It would totally help this team.
I mean, bringing in, it doesn't necessarily, and I think you made this point, it doesn't need to be Draymond. And then, we can challenge each other to, hey, so who's that defensive guy? And I even said Pat Bev, like, would you bring him here? It's like somebody like that, though, somebody who can come here as a leader who around the league is known to have that type of presence. Like maybe like Rashid's not necessarily known for being like a great defender, but he played great team defense and became a good defender here under with Ben, and figured out how to play alongside of him. Like,
right.
Who is that person?
I don't know. I guess I really haven't thought on it, but I mean, off the top of my head, I like guys like PJ Tucker and stuff like that. Guys. Right. I hate Marcus Smart, but a guy like that. There's plenty of guys around the league, but I'd have to look at the free agent list.
I like
a Montrezl Harrell.
I like Draymond because he's from here.
Well, Montrezl Harrell's a real. I think he's a free agent. I don't even think he's on a team, is he? He's on a team.
He's on a team.
Yeah,
I think he plays for
I think it's Lakers.
Philly.
Philly? I don't know, man. I don't know. Outside
Look
of
it up.
Pistons,
Look it
outside
up.
of Pistons, I don't really know much except
look
for
it
the meat
up.
and potato stuff.
Okay, so yeah, Bojan, 6 for 10, 3-pointers, 24 points, led the team. Mm-hmm. I mean, looks good. I mean, as advertised, right? And then some.
I like it. I like the look that we had yesterday, which is a total difference than what I seen in the preseason, because the preseason did not
describe
look
what you're
good.
saying. Like, what was the look that you
Well,
before, and then the look now?
well, the look now is I appreciated that.
What was
they
the look
actually-
before?
It wasn't good. They were giving up all sorts of points in the paint. The rotations were horrible. Just super sloppy play. You know, the game plan actually went as it should have, for the most part last night, which was better rotations on defense. Even though they got burned quite a few times, but that's going to happen. It's the NBA. They actually hit their damn shots. They didn't turn the freaking ball over doing stupid shit. You know, those are huge things to me. You know, like
Right.
turnovers. I mean, I preach turnovers. You know this. We've known each other for fucking years, and I've always said turnovers are they drive me insane.
Right.
You know, I preach assisted
like a
turnover
coach.
ratios, all that shit. You know, and so the 13 turnovers was key to me. You know, like that was one of the biggest things. And like I said, hitting the shots and the assist, you know, huge. You know, they still, like I said, they still gave up 56 points in the paint. I want to see that a little lower, and I think that will go lower as we get our big guys back.
Well, I mean, I don't want to discount the team we played because it's Orlando and they had the number 1 pick overall. But I mean, they have guys that can play ball over there.
Well,
Like
they're still pros,
Franz, I was surprised to see Franz being their primary ball handler in the first half.
right? And that's the thing too that might have limited Cade's game, because he was expending a lot on defense covering Franz.
Also, might be why Suggs was able to thrive, because he wasn't handling the ball so much. Maybe playing more off ball. But I mean, either way, I mean, Banchero was the one I expected to see playing more on the ball, but I guess
He was on the ball quite a bit.
I mean, I guess nowadays they're splitting those duties up a lot better than they.
Yeah,
guess
I
they
mean,
did before.
the league is trending into really truly positionless basketball.
Right, and I mean, Dwayne Casey's been a part of raising two of those teams.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, it's really just gonna. I mean, the future of this league is what it is right now. Is you know, like MMA. You know, you pick whichever style you want to go with, and then that's what you're gonna hang your hat on. Like, these coaches that they hire are good for certain styles. Dwayne Casey was hired or kept here to continue his developmental role here.
Yeah,
And that's, I mean, at some point we're gonna be
but I
ready.
think we can both agree that Casey's not the coach
No,
going into being
Nope.
a contender.
no. I mean, maybe that's why I said I was concerned at the end of the day with, can Weaver actually let him go when the time is right.
Well, I think he can.
I mean, we'll see. We'll
I
see.
mean, the guy's a grim reaper, man. He turned over this whole entire franchise in 2 years. He really did.
But I mean, nobody's perfect, you know.
well, no, I mean, he made mistakes for sure. None of his second round picks has panned out outside of Livers. Livers is the only one.
I mean, show me a GM who nails all of his second round picks.
I mean, but we can probably go through and find a laundry list of second round players that are getting a lot of burn in the NBA. Tons of them. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can go through some of these better teams that have a history of good GMs and find out that a lot of their second round players play for them. Maybe not huge minutes, but they actually play, unlike Saban Lee, Garza,
it's
etc.
tough. Yeah, it's tough for a second round player, because a lot of these teams who, like even us who have been rebuilding, we're looking to hit on one of these second rounders, but we still want to sign free agents.
Well, yeah, and Livers might be that guy too. That
we want to bring
hit in the
other.
second
We
round.
want to bring in other guys, and I think, you know, if you can't keep just every year, just okay, well, we're going to sign a first rounder and a second rounder and let two guys go every single year. Like, we have to have some sort of veteran presence here. So,
Well, also, that's like we're under the understanding like we're gonna have to probably part with one of our 6 top 20 picks the last 3 years. It's probably gonna have to happen.
but if it doesn't, I'm not mad, because honestly, I think deep down, I'd rather us just stick to the game plan and keep all of these guys here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
But if they're not winning by call it Cade's year 3, then you got to start fiddling around. And
Right.
you know, I trust Weaver to do that, honestly, because I mean, he identified the problem when he got here, and he fucking turned it over so quickly that
Yeah, he's like, no more of these Stan Van Dummy players.
Yeah.
Granted, some of those players were good, just not his good. So I mean, I totally understand why he did it. They weren't his players.
Well, like if we're gonna say right now, forget about a player to lose. Who would be a decent player to bring in or style of player to complement this team? A $40 million player, $50 million player, whatever, top ranked player or top paid player, or like, you know, call it all star, or
I mean,
like you have the all star level, like the 30 millions, and then you have the, the 15 to $25 million, the journeyman guys, and then you have the mid level exceptions, and the guys who role players.
right. See, I'm more in the camp right now after this year to get role players, good role players, just like I wanted to do this past years. If we have to overspend on players, I want it to be on good role players. But if there's a star available, we can get via the trade, because I don't really think there's really big stars in any or big time players coming out in free agency this next
See,
year.
I think that's the approach that you have to take for the last few years, so we can, because you have to spend the money on the cap. So if that's the approach that we're taking the last couple of years, while we develop these young players, then that's what it is. But eventually, you have to abandon that, spend money on high profile, or I'm sorry, not high profile, like role players, or maybe high profile role players. Either way, not spending a lot of money on a superstar. Like at some point, if your situation isn't working, or you're at a particular point in the development, I think you have to bring in a big name. Like we are almost going to bring in Miles Bridges or DeAndre Ayton. I think Troy Weaver wants to do that. He wants to bring in a big name to do something, and really demand this team to win. Because once you bring in that, then all eyes are on you. Like expectations go up automatically.
Right. Well, I don't disagree with you. Trying to be inside Troy's brain a little bit. If I'm Troy, I'm not trying to make a big move just to make a big move. I'd rather kick the can down the road with these 1 year, 2 year flyers and trade baits,
Right.
until the right situation comes up. Whether it be this trade deadline, the
Right.
off season, next year's trade deadline.
Well, I guess that's my question. Is we didn't find anybody last year that we liked. Is there anybody this year? We looked at the list. Honestly, we're so flexible. We could trade for anybody we wanted. Any disgruntled player. If Kevin Durant demands a trade again, if he's not happy after this season, we have the assets to give up, even though we're not gonna.
So, what do you think we're set at going forward in the future? Point guard, shooting guard,
Just guard, yeah, 2 starting guards.
center.
Yes.
So, small forward and power forward are the two positions
Well,
kind of up in the air. Because
I like Sadiq at the small forward.
we like Sadiq, don't get me wrong, but is Sadiq that player of the future?
I think we're still missing that strong power forward. That
Right.
power forward who might be the best player on this team, or good enough to play, the whole game. Because
Yeah.
Duran is our starting center of the future.
Correct.
He is the center, not a power forward. His job will be, defense, rebounding,
Yep.
and the turnaround hook. Hey, he can score a few points. I mean, otherwise the lobs, he can make a business off those lobs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, power forward is one of those positions. It's so hard to find a really great power forward.
But if you do, it puts Sadiq right at the small forward. where
Most
he can do
teams
the
hang
best
on to
job.
their power forwards. That's the thing. We just look at it historically. Like
We have to draft
recently,
him. We have to draft him.
right? That's what I'm worried about. And unless the right deal comes down the road, I just kick the can, man.
We'll have a
Just-
top 10 pick.
maybe.
It
Who
should be a
knows?
top 10 pick.
Who knows, bro? With how the lottery works, who knows? If we're the 7th or 8th worst team in the league.
Let's call it the 10th. Let's call
Okay.
it the 10th. You can still get the power forward of the future with the 10th pick.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can.
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, looking
You
at
draft
this,
for upside.
there's not really any power forwards out here in free agency that really push the meter for me.
No.
No, not really. I mean, you can bring, no. Yeah, not really. Kyle Kuzma.
Nope. He played well in his first night, but I don't want to take the first game of the season to make too much about it.
Dario Saric might be a decent acquisition. He seems like a player I'd like on this team that is a smart player, defers, doesn't have to be the man.
Right.
Plays a solid game. But he's been a bench rider his whole life, though, pretty much. or his whole career.
Is the best player of the future on this team right now.
Yes.
Okay. Whether it's Cade or it's Ivy or it's Duren.
Right. And that's why I'm kind of in the camp of just getting really good role players. Whether they're starters or bench guys or whatever, we have our two main cogs is going to be Cade and Jaden going forward. We need really good role players around them. Duren, I think, is one of them. Now, anybody else on this team? I like a lot of players on this team, but they're all expendable in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a business in the end. If you're not winning,
it totally is. And
Tom Gorris is going to demand it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If we're not winning, I mean, all these guys are expendable except for the three guys I just named.
Like
in my opinion. I mean, anybody else can have their own opinion, and that's fine. And I probably don't disagree with you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I want to win. I don't grow emotionally attached to these guys. Because I don't see it. You know what I mean? I see the greatness as it is as a role player, but the greatness to be great, I don't see it besides three guys that could actually be great players.
Right. I mean, I still think Sadiq can be a great player.
I think his ceiling's pretty much there. With his game, it's just going to be all tweaks.
He challenges himself too much, I think, for that to be the truth, and he's still surpassed the ceiling. Every year we reset the ceiling for him, and I think that maybe by year 7 or I guess year 5 for him.
I mean, it had to be year 5
when he's like 27, when he's like 27, 28, and he's in, that's your ultimate prime, like mentally and physically.
Yes.
Like he might be playing fantastic basketball.
Yeah, but generally we can see guys trending.
He's not going to be a perennial all-star, but he might be an all-star like for 1 or 2 years in his career.
Yeah, maybe like a Chris Middleton type player.
Yeah.
Career.
Yeah.
Trajectory.
If we have like a lot of success with wins, and we end up like a team that like people look out for, and when we're coming into town, everybody knows who the fuck we are. Sadiq will still be one of our best scorers on this team. Like just like he is now.
Yeah.
That's not going to change. He's more of a scorer than Cade is.
Right.
Like in his brain he is. Like he has that will to give me the ball, I want to score.
Yeah.
And Cade's like, "Here, you want the ball? Go score." So, I think if that happens, Sadiq will be, and that's the kind of the point is like Chris Middleton. He's really important. Like everybody knows who Chris Middleton is.
Yeah,
because all the success of Giannis.
Yep.
You attract the
running mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's the person that's going to attract all that attention? It's got to be Ivy, doesn't it?
It's got to be.
Got to be. Mm-hmm. And we're totally fine with Cade being the leader and Ivy being the co-leader.
Right. The scoring leader.
Right. Like both of them recognizing where their talents are, and that's Cade is setting up the play or setting up the team for all the other plays, while Jaden, like sort of like a Donovan Mitchell type thing, but having a team to support him.
I don't want Jaden to be anything like Donovan Mitchell.
No, but I mean he gets his 21 shots a game.
Right. Well, yeah.
And that's sort of what I mean.
Yeah.
Like he's going to have his own.
He's going to be the one taking the most shots every game.
Right, and then Cade will kind of orchestrate the rest of the
Take
game
the shots
around
when
it.
he needs to.
Correct.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yep.
And he'll be able to play more defense, which I think bodes well because I think Cade's a good defender. Where he can,
yeah,
he's got potential to be a good defender.
I mean, they have to switch. Jaden has to cover point guards, and Cade has to slide over cover twos.
As long as he stays as a guard, I think. Even though he's getting beat by a lot of these guys who are faster than him.
Yeah, he's a little slow-footed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean, he'll get better with positioning and angles and stuff like that as he goes.
Right. Or maybe that's. Maybe there was some truth to what you were talking about, putting Cade at the 3, and that kind of leaves us wide open to drafting another guard this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Killian
Scoot Henderson.
Killian is like solidified to come off the bench. I think once we kind of like keep him in that role.
Yeah, I don't think Kill is ever going to be a starter.
Yeah, if you're committed to, if you're committed to bringing in somebody else, like if Weaver's like, hey, I'm ready to get rid of Sadiq and bring in Kevin Durant or bring in Jimmy
like
Butler. Yeah, who cares? Just name anybody that's Tatum. Who gives a fuck? He's disgruntled there. It doesn't matter. We're bringing in that guy and we're getting rid of Sadiq, and we're going to shift Cade over to the 3. And we're going to draft this guy or bring in this other guard.
Right.
Like, you could still make it all work with Cade and Ivy. Like, Those are the two, and then keeping Duren at the center.
Right.
Like you keep those three
Or
players.
you just bring in a point guard in free agency because if you're getting a guy like Tatum or something like that, that's going to come in and fill that power forward position for you.
Right.
You're ready to win.
I don't want.
So you're going to bring in a point guard.
I don't want. We're kind of in the woods on this.
Yeah, it's down a rabbit hole.
But I love the rabbit holes, dude. Those are
Yeah,
my
I mean we
favorite.
go down them all the time. It's ridiculous.
Yes. But it's great, like because it's the excitement of it all.
Yeah.
Like as we said, like no other city has all four of their sports in the middle of the downtown area.
Right.
Let alone let alone all four teams in a fucking current rebuild.
Right.
And we've always said that the Pistons, the Lions, and the Red Wings have their shit together, and the Tigers don't. But now the Tigers fired their people.
We think
and
they
now
might now.
They might actually have their shit together. Yeah.
We'll see going forward.
Yeah. So
We'll see about the Lions going forward.
a lot of hope. A lot of hope. I speak from hope.
Yeah, but I mean, I would like to say though I was wrong about the Magic beating the Pistons. I was wrong about that.
We were both wrong.
Yeah,
I said it would be a close game, and I thought we'd lose.
It was a close game and we won.
Right.
So-
And you know why we won? Because we had the player on the floor with the most experience, named Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah,
I
I would
think-
say I think that's a fair assumption.
For some reason, it seems like that was what tipped it for us. Not only because he led the team and scored, but like he is the guy who had the most veteran experience of winning and playing winning basketball.
Right.
Knowing how to see where the moments are. That's where Cade has to learn also, I think, as the team leader and, you know, our unquestioned leader, is in those moments find out the game within the game.
Yeah.
You know, like we always watch like the Jordan, and like he wasn't just playing basketball. He learned how to win.
Yep.
I think it was BJ Armstrong that said that. He's like we were all just playing basketball. Michael was learning how to win.
Right.
You know, it's like he just saw different things within the game, and I think that's what Cade has to do. But
hopefully he's watching that.
But Bojan, I think, he has the most experience in those moments. So I mean, like I would like to say that I don't want to feel like I'm going to expect this every week.
Well, I feel comfortable with Bojan on the floor. I feel very comfortable with him on the floor.
Are you relieved? Remember how you felt when we first got him? Do you feel relieved?
I still don't think he plays defense for shit. But to say that I'm relieved,
I mean, obviously you knew we're a better team with him than we were before.
absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt about that. Especially what we gave up for him, which
Right.
was nothing, bag of chips.
And I think keeping kind of everybody like on their toes and like hey, Weaver, I mean, you play good.
Right, or else you're
I mean,
packing your bag.
Exactly. Or not necessarily packing your bag so much as if you think your starting job here is forever, it's not.
Right,
You know?
and that brings me back to Bojan getting the start over Sadiq and moving Stewart to the 4 and starting Duren. I just think that should be just a thing. Like, Duren can play. Just start him. You don't have to play him more than 25, 30 minutes a game. You don't have to.
But Bagley's going to come back. I like Duren and Bagley starting.
Yeah, so do I. I don't have a problem with it.
I didn't like Bagley starting with Stewart because Stewart can't be tall enough to guard those, but Duren can.
Right.
As long as he can find a
Well,
way.
Bagley can't play the defense. Duren can. And then we have
Right.
We have Nerlens coming back into the picture too. The rotation's going to be pretty tough down low.
Dude, if Bagley comes in and Duren starts, I think that's your future lineup right there. I think
Yeah,
that's
because I mean Bags is young still too. So, but
same
Bags
age as Cade, I think.
We had to see Bags improve more. We had to see his progression some more. So I'm not dying on that hill at all. Same with anybody. Like I said,
Same as Sadiq, I'm sorry.
same as anybody else on this team. Like I said, outside of the three
No, I meant
guys,
the ages.
outside of the 3 guys, everybody's expendable to me. If it's not panning out,
3 guys. See, I think Stewart's here to stay. I don't want Stewart to go anywhere too because
I don't want him to go anywhere. But I mean,
he's got the exact attitude that we need. Like if he was on a different team and we watched that team play us, we would see Stewart and be like, God, that guy needs to be in Detroit.
right? Probably.
You know what I'm saying? Like we need to find that other guy and write a letter to, like the old days. We'll like with the stamp and we'll send it in the mail and to Mr. Weaver's house saying, sir, these are your 3 choices here, but we really think that bringing these guys in makes us a defensive identity, gives us a defensive identity that will allow us to, start winning games like with authority.
Right.
And you ain't driving a lane to Detroit.
Well, we'd have to research that a little bit. Maybe break out the old wax and stamp and send a letter.
So there was some breaking news today on the Pistons' behalf. Pistons executive Rob Murphy was accused of misconduct with a female employee. He's the assistant GM, as it turns out, was promoted. I have this all saved up. He was promoted from general manager of the G League affiliate last year. Bad news for this guy, man.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, especially in today's society.
So, yeah, it's Woj reported it, so that's how you know it's absolutely legit.
Yeah.
And he's currently not with the team. He's on leave. So a team source confirmed the report, and the team had no comment. And then he was placed on leave. So it's a legit thing.
Well, who gave Woj the report? Did the team give Woj the report?
I mean, no, but he called the team the team source, like a team, whoever his team source is.
Just basically.
Is there validity to this? And they said, yes, there is. Because they've obviously already placed him on leave for such a thing.
Right.
But is there a comment? No. There is no comment.
Right. Probably need to get all their facts straight and everything like that, which is smart.
Right. Other than he's been placed on leave, there is no comment. No
they did
further
everything
comment.
they were supposed to do. Obviously, they found out before the news broke, and they already had him on leave.
With the Udoka stuff, it's like, and the Me Too movement and everything. You can't be dudes, and it's not like you're working in a restaurant,
Right.
where you can just talk freely with these people that talk freely with you. And even then, you still have to be on your toes, man. Like, it seems consensual, like the conversation and the flirting is consensual until it benefits somebody else.
Yeah, whatever party.
To say such,
Say such thing or leak such thing.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, so like I don't want to, I don't want to prognosticate on who's to blame, but it's just kind of the world we live in. Who knows what's happening and why it's happening or who it's happening to, but it could happen to anyone at any time.
Yeah, dumbass move by the guy. He should have been professional.
Yep.
That's all I can say about that. Really.
When you're
in
making
that position, you have to.
When you're making that much money and your job is that important, and especially in the climate, that's going on, that you can't make mistakes like that.
Yeah, it's wrong to begin with, and especially in today's socioeconomic climate.
We officially waived Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I think that was yesterday, wasn't it?
I think it was
Monday
yesterday
or something. I don't know.
It cost us $9.2 million. So, but that was always the plan.
That was the plan. Yeah,
it was always the plan. Maybe we could have got it down to like 8 if we're going to do a buyout. But no, there was no buyout.
Yeah,
because he wanted another team to sign him.
Yeah,
but so knowing what we just said about Bojan and having like a veteran presence here and how we appreciate that, was there ever a role for him here? Like maybe
Kemba.
Yeah. Like over Kojo,
maybe over Kojo, but not really. I almost rather have Kojo because he's going to be a more stable vet off the bench.
He's not going to come. He's not going to demand more time.
Yeah, he's not.
Like Kemba might.
He's not going to do that. He's going to. Kojo shoots the three well, so he can come in and make a shot for you. Whereas Kemba is not historically a good shooter. He's a ball hawker. You know what I mean? Like he just chucks up shots.
I just thought that. With as much money as it was like costing us, and I don't know, maybe there was something for him here, but he doesn't play defense, and he is a liability, and he can't really produce offensively. And
who knows how he is in the locker room?
And there was something going on with him in New York last year. I'm not sure what it was, but he ended up like, I have this vague memory of him saying something like, he's ready to come back and contribute and be a part of the team, and I remember not really seeing him, and it seemed like there was some sort of underlying issue that had happened and that I wasn't aware of, that never really made public or that I have not seen. So, feel free to, clue me in on that.
Yeah, I remember vaguely something like that as well, but I don't know enough to comment on it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, maybe there's some things going on that makes even more of a reason not to bring him in.
Yeah. Like you were saying, it's always part of the plan to ship him away, regardless of how it happened.
It was we were trying to eat up $9 million, so we didn't have to spend like all of that money this year on a free agent. We want to save it for next year, and then maybe even next year save it for the following year.
Right. That's
just
what
keep
I'm saying. Yeah,
bullshitting money while
down the road. Yeah,
because eventually we're gonna have to re-sign Cade and Sadiq, and then we're gonna see how much money we're working with then.
Right.
rather than spending it all now.
Well, I mean, on the books first would be Killian Sadiq, and Isaiah.
A lot of flexibility here, and I think that's one thing that Troy Weaver has brought here when he came in. When we had zero flexibility, we had zero talent, zero direction,
And a bunch of money on the books.
and he came like coming off the books in 3 years. This is the first year that we're not paying Blake Griffin anymore,
Right, or others.
or Josh Smith, or
yeah.
for
whoever.
crying out loud. Yeah, I mean, so Troy Weaver's come in here and really just created a really great opportunity for whatever happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at the very beginning of waiting to see what's going to happen, to see how to react to it, because the three big pieces of the future are here. Like we said, Cade, Ivy, and Duren, and even I think Sadiq and Stu in their own roles here, whether Sadiq is a permanent sixth man and Stewart's that permanent seventh guy off the bench with them, and Killian's with them.
Big, yeah.
Like all three of those guys from that draft end up being like our bench of the future.
Right.
If that's what it is, then that's what it is, and our wait and see approach has just begun. Because like last year with Cade being a rookie, you're not going to put too much emphasis on winning then.
Yeah.
But also Ivy and Duren, the future cornerstones of those positions on this team. Now that they're here, I think that you also have to reset exactly like you did last year. Yeah. It's going to be at least a couple years, because you want that's going to develop into, like, Duren's going to develop into one of the best lob threats in the entire league.
You hope so.
He might
the
never.
ceiling is there.
He might never have great defensive positioning, but he'll always make up for it with how high he can jump.
Right, barring injuries, yeah.
Right, barring it, exactly. So, and maybe he's going to improve on his little jumper, and he's going to be effective in that way. And whoever our four is going to have to be able to play a little bit on the ball defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that MB would probably progress into that. I'm like I said, he's young as hell still. So
right,
like by the time he's 25, 26, 27.
Who?
MB Bagley.
Oh,
yeah, it's all.
You said Embiid. I was like,
no, MB, Marvin Bagley, the guy.
Yeah, he's still young enough, and I think demanding that defensive presence here might. Like the same way Troy Weaver did for Jaden Ivey. Hey, you ready to play defense?
Yeah.
And making that a focal point, he's going to hopefully try to find a way to play better defense.
Yeah, you'd think it's gonna happen. You got to start protecting that rim a little bit.
Right.
That's really the biggest thing with me, and his movement on switches.
Yeah, he's going to have to. Yeah, him moving fast, because his team seems like if he's going to be the starter with Duren, then he's going to have to be able to move pretty fast.
Yeah, but I like everything he does on offense.
Right.
Every single thing Marvin Bagley does on offense, I really enjoy.
So with the Knicks game coming up, it seems like it's not just because it's the Knicks, but it's a higher profile matchup. Like Orlando is another top 5 team, top 5 draft pick team.
Yeah. They're going to be bottom scrapers.
Yeah, and the Knicks were sort of they fell off after they had that
They good
brought in
years
Thibodeau.
ago.
They brought in Thibodeau, and Julius Randle improved his role significantly on that team, and
kind of just fell flat last year.
yeah, they brought in Evan Fournier. I thought they were actually going to have a great year last year, and they just did not.
Right.
So bringing in Brunson, they seem to play well in their first game. Who knows how long that's going to last? It probably won't, knowing the Knicks.
Right.
But in this moment, it seems to be okay, and they're high on this. Is it at New York or is it at Detroit?
I think it's at New York. We're on a 3-game road trip.
Okay, so this is even Cade and Ivy and Duren are going to be like, hey, we're in New York, man. We got
Right. Got to do something.
Yeah, this is the Mecca, man. We got to make sure we show up. But I mean, what do we expect to see in this game?
Well,
Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle down low.
yeah, and I want to see Stewart on Randall.
So you want to see Stewart and Duren start?
Yeah, that's where I want to be at. I think that's the best option to go. Unless Nerlens is back, and then you can put Nerlens out there starting next to Stu, and then bring Duren off the bench. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Nerlens would probably play well tomorrow. I bet you he does play.
Yeah. So I'm not opposed to that starting lineup as well. But I just want to see Stu on Randall. I think Stewart on Randall is the best option.
Well, let's do a ballpark. Let's do a ballpark estimate here. What are we looking for out of Cade and Ivy here?
I'd like to see Cade right around the 20-point mark. I
think he'll have more than 20
double-digit
points.
assist. I'd like to see him grab some more boards this game. so we can initiate the offense. Out of the break. It's last year the offense ran really well in breaks when he got the rebound. So I'd like to see that. Defensively, it's going to have to be Jaden and Killian guarding Brunson because Kay's not going to be able to stay in front of him.
With Fournier out there, I mean, he's a legit wing. He's a legit threat to go off like Bojan did.
Yeah. It's going to be it's going to be the battle of Bojan and the European boys, Bojan and Fournier. That's what it's going to be tomorrow, as far as that position goes. And like I said, I'd like to see Sadiq come off the bench, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
I honestly don't think
he works too hard.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. And honestly, I don't really see Stewart starting at the 4. I see Stewart starting at the center position again. And so we're gonna get to see Jaden Ivey guarding Mitchell Robinson and stuff. It's gonna be great.
I mean, Mitchell Robinson's not an offensive threat unless they're throwing a lob up.
Right, or Jaden Ivey's on him and a switch.
I would like to see how Duren handles the job of Julius Randle. Because we know Stu can play that position, but he's undersized for it. So my whole idea of bringing in Duren and being like super pumped about it is we'll finally have a guy that is of size to be the center. That's why he is the center of the future. So he has to be the guy because our power forward, whoever they are, is an offensive-minded guy.
Well, that's why I want to see Stu at the power forward, so he's checking Randall. Either way, I need Stu on Randall because they're the same freaking size, and they move the same. And I think Stu moves well enough on the perimeter he can actually guard Randall out there. And then you have Duren down low or Nerlens down low,
right?
Checking Mitchell Robinson or whoever the hell they bring off the bench.
So this is really awesome because every single time we do this, the stuff from the Detroit Pistons Central Facebook group, every time we read the comments from these guys, they blow my mind, but they're awesome. Like it really gives us great content to even talk about. But Kevin Knox was as advertised. Get him away from me.
right. Well, that's why New York said that.
I swear to God.
They said, see you later, Knox.
1 for 8. I mean, it was not he. Like you said though, he did other things well. He played his position well.
He did,
and he didn't necessarily make up for a 1 for 8. But
going to New York, I mean, what do you think? How do you think we're going to play?
I think him and Noel, you have to give them minutes just for the idea of the revenge game. They're going to come out. You have to utilize that somehow. If Casey doesn't, then I'll be surprised.
Right, and going into the game, I don't see us winning it. I see it being competitive, though. I'm interested to see the rotations that Casey throws out at them.
I agree with you. I don't see us winning it. I think we can win it.
Well, we can, yes.
And if we do, then leading into Game 3, we have a lot more. Oh, hey, look at this.
Yeah, but we're going against the Thibodeau team, which is they're good defensively historically. So that's going to be something to see because they're not going to get free passes like they did with the Magic, who are not good defensively.
Right, but still, I think you adapt to your team. You adapt to your competition.
Right. Well, I mean, if we can get this win,
if they're nailing their threes in the first quarter, I think it's going to be harder for us to come back. But at the same time, we don't quit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before I do our next podcast, I mean, we'd like to get this win to the Knicks because the next 2 games are very winnable against the Pacers and the Wizards on the road. So
the Wizards play well. I can't really explain why, but they do.
They do, but I mean, it's a winnable game. It's more winnable than the Knicks, in my opinion.
Like Beal just had like 23 points or something like that, and they won.
Yeah,
I think it's probably because Kuzma had a good game. He scored over 20 points.
And then when we come back from the road trip, we're gonna have a tough matchup against the Hawks at home.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
I think we both have some reservations to how's that team gonna how is that gonna work out? But Game 1, they both had over 10 assists and over 20 points.
Yeah, DeJounte and Trey they're awesome.
I mean, that was
DeJounte plays fucking crazy defense too.
I know, and that's exactly what that team needed.
Yeah,
Trey Young is a liability. You bring in somebody to complement that, and Okongwu and Clint Capella. I mean, there's a lot to be.
Collins.
You have 2 true centers And you have I don't know, I don't want to call Collins a true power forward, but
Well, I think he's a true power forward. He does everything you ask for out of a power forward.
very true. I mean, he's got the ups. I mean, he could easily play small
Well,
forward
he has
too.
an
'Cause
outside shot. He plays decent defense.
he's like 6'8" or 6'9". He's not
he has
necessarily a big
post
guy.
moves. He does everything he has to do.
So he says, after game one, I can already see the narratives that will be posted by fans. Bay is a target. Killian will always be a target. And Ivy will become the franchise over Cade by some.
I agree with the first two statements.
Well, because because we're doing a show, or we're talking about this, we're going to bring up every possibility. But I mean, obviously, Bay is a target because he's our number one option currently, seemingly in a game where he's not even necessarily the focal point of our offense.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see that move away from him, and I think him being a security blanket is not helpful to the development of Cade and Ivy playing in some sort of, here and there.
Right. I think Bay's one of those guys. He's kind of lost in the shuffle. What his role is going to be, bringing in Ivy and Bojan. So that's
Bojan's
a
not a permanent. He's not a permanent thing here.
Well, he's
either.
not, but he's going to be here all season, or at least until the trade deadline.
Well, he might be. I mean, I shouldn't say he's not going to be a permanent thing. We don't think he will be because
I don't think
he could easily sign a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
3-year deal here.
Yeah, and the way he plays his game, he can play at a decent high level into his mid to late 30s. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is something he would like to do. Maybe he likes Detroit. I can't really speak to why he would want to stay here if he really does, but if he does, then that's cool. I mean, I'm happy to have his defensive presence or his veteran presence and his ability to shoot the 3-point.
Yeah, and to the Jaden Ivey being the leader of this team over Cade, I don't agree with that. Cade's the leader. Jaden Ivey, I am wholeheartedly agreeing. He'll be the leading scorer.
Become the franchise, which is bigger than leader.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the franchise though either.
No. But I think, honestly, really, really, what I think it does is it might make Cade not worth paying $45 million in the end. Like, he's going to get.
But another team will probably value that, so we'd say bye bye to Cade.
No, but he'll give us. I don't know. I think he'll take what we give him, and we'll give him a really fair offer. I just don't think we're going to overpay him.
Well, I don't think that's
we might overpay.
I don't think that's Troy Weaver's game. I don't think overpaying anybody is in Troy Weaver's game.
Fair. They might want to start Jalen Duren now, this dude says.
And I agree.
And we agree. We've been saying that. No disrespect to Sadiq Bey, but if you're crucifying Killian for going 1 for 9 despite all of the other ways he impacted the game last night, Bey has had similar shooting nights and came nowhere near as close to affecting the game in other ways like Killian did. If you let him slide, then chill on Hayes. I agree.
I agree. We talk about it all the time how we like Killian and what he does.
And how he affects the game in every possible way. Yeah.
Right.
And that's what Sadiq honestly really needs to work on. Because that's the person we need. We don't need another person who can score. We need a person who can do the dirty shit.
Right.
And that's what Isaiah Stewart offers. But I mean, he's limited in how well he can provide those things, which is why I like Draymond a lot because he's a little bit smaller and more. I shouldn't say smaller. He's shorter, but the way he affects the game in those Killian type ways.
Well, he's very intelligent.
Yeah. So these people that have trade Hayes from minute one, like, do you want him to be your number one scorer, bro?
Right. Like, no.
What do you want, Cade and Ivy to go 2 and 3?
No, we're totally conscious on what the hell we want him to be, and that's one of our guys off our bench that's going to come in and be the glue, the catalyst to that second unit.
Right. We think that he can be.
He can be
a role player on a championship team.
Very Lindsey Hunter, Mike James style player.
So this guy says, so I know Stu hit that huge 3 at the end of the game, but does anyone think Duren is going to make Stu come off the bench? I mean, clearly Noel will be expendable. I see Duren becoming the starter and Stu off the bench. Once again, we agree. The starting lineup 2 or 3 years ago was Drummond, Snell, Brown, Morris, Reggie Jackson. Things have changed for the better.
They really have. We talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah,
how
we
Troy
talked
just
about it
flipped
tonight.
This roster.
Yeah, I've always reminded myself of how much happier I am of hope.
Yeah, I remember the day we released Josh Smith. I shit my pants, and then we went on a crazy winning streak until Jennings blew out his freaking Achilles.
Oh my God, it was great. And then what he left. Oh my God,
Right.
I love Brandon Jennings.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He was a Detroit guy.
Yeah, he was awesome.
So this guy says first official game of the season, we won. The young ones shine bright at the most important time, and yet You have fans who are looking for whatever they said would happen, have happened, focusing on the negatives. Everyone wants to be able to say, I told you so, and it goes by the game. If the negatives happen, yeah, whatever. Okay, sorry. When your shot's not falling and you're 1 for 9, you contribute in other ways. This guy, yeah, we already read that. Isaiah Stewart was confident and ready to take that 3-point shot towards the end of the game. Definitely respect the work this young guy has been putting in.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that.
2-8, he's been taking care of it. Another guy that has a role here on a championship team, or like a role on a championship team. Hopefully it's this one. But yeah, so that's all we got for you tonight. We will be back next week with a whole bunch of critiques on a couple more games for you. Hopefully we got some more wins under the belt.
Four more games.
Four more games.
Yeah, we might even stop in before that and shoot a little shit.
All right, cool. Awesome. All right, peace out.
All right, take it easy, yo.